because I think it's going to be helpful as we move forward, just so we can keep, as everybody knows, I try to keep these meetings on schedule in just an hour. So we've got a lot to talk about since our August meeting. I just want to first of all welcome everybody. We have folks inside our offices here, not DBA's office, but Old Colony Planning Council, but also for those that are online, if you could at least rename yourself, so that way we know where you're from. So first, I just wanted to provide a little bit of a message from myself. Just, these last couple, the summer's been a bit of a challenge in many ways, but, I just wanted to, I had fired off a letter to Chief Perez with a number of folks on it, talking about, I guess, the state of downtown, but it's not only the state of downtown, it's the state, I think, of our state, of our region, of the nation, in terms of the number of those who are in poverty, those who are having substance use and mental health issues. And without having to get deeply into it, I had identified a number of things to many of the policymakers about the issues and identifying these issues as being systemic. Again, just this morning, there was a gentleman who was at our front steps. I had came in like at 7 o'clock in the morning, and one of my staff members came in and said, "Mary, there's someone on our front steps. We're finding needles. Chambers had a broken glass." So I guess where I'm going with this is that, we want to be real about what issues are within our urban community, with our downtown, our Campello, Montello, it's at the mall, it's everywhere. And I think where I was going with my email to the chief and others was that we really need to be dealing with these issues, not individually, not just one department or as a DBA or as social service agencies. We really need
let me
to
give them the pictures anyway. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to mute you, Al. Sorry. But my point is that, we really want to be able to address some of these. So I again, just the gist of my email to the chief was that here's some issues, and it was a very long email, but I do want to read her statement. And I know that Lieutenant Schleiman and also Officer Derek Salamone is going to be on. And but this comes from the chief. Good afternoon, Mary. I hope this email finds you well. You and I have had a number of conversations, which we've had. The matters you have raised are indeed complex and multifaceted, requiring a collaborative effort for various agencies and stakeholders. For our part, I would like to provide you with some insight into the steps law enforcement has taken and continue to take to address these challenges. Our approach to addressing homelessness involves a combination of outreach, support, and enforcement. We continue to have walking, bike, beats, and link up shifts in the downtown area and have had 83 so far this year. Brockton Linked Up has a recovery coach and police officer partner to address quality of life issues and outreach, share information, resources, and assist individuals facing substance use disorders. We have active directed patrols to closely monitor and address any issues in the area of Perkins Park, School Street Bridges, White Ave, and Goddard Ave. Our department also assists the park department with cleanup of Perkins Park on Mondays and Fridays. We also assist Department of Public Works when cleaning under the underpasses of the bridges. The police department has full-time licensed clinicians who ride with our substance use officer patrol officers daily and actively respond to calls for substance use and mental health issues. The clinicians offer guidance, resource, and programs available for those suffering from substance use, behavioral, and mental health. Currently under review with the City Law Department is an aggressive solicitation ordinance to address the issues of individuals who are on the street, creating a dangerous and often hazardous public safety situation for monitoring public. As you can see, we are actively and consistently working to do our part. Captain William Hallisey, Officer Derek Salamone have attended several downtown association meetings and will continue to do our best to be represented. And she extends her apologies for not being able to make today's meeting. But I wanted to share that it was very thoughtful, caring. Shortly after she had sent this, we did see patrols I don't want to say it was last Friday, but the various property owners were very much appreciative of seeing a visual be in downtown. I want to supplement this was that I also met with Mayor Sullivan last week to talk about many of these issues as well. I also want to let you all know that on a monthly, I think it's twice a month, and there's a couple other folks who are on this meeting in here that attend the homelessness task force that Jasmine Bradshair holds, and actively participates and understands like the overload and that everybody goes through. I open with this, a message from me, because I think it's important that we don't, number one, shy away. Number two, be on the same page how to address it. Number three, again, the conversations are really important. There are resources that we put in the packages. I know I appreciate the Brockton Police Department, the mayor's office, the ward counselor, in raising this, but it's not going to, again, be done alone. So I think what's important for me is that I am, as the president, arm all of you who are members and those who are property owners with the resources. And on our website, it is there. And I think I'm going to ask Elise to kind of share our website for right now. Our website has all this information. I encourage, if you have the time, to join the homelessness task force discussion, because the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center, I'm looking to Cindy, who else is, who attends those meetings? The homeless task force.
So, yeah, it's, business owners, it's the, task force, her partnership, everything.
And the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center, a number of folks.
Yeah.
But my point is that, again, thank you, Megan, for putting in the DBA website, but on this website, we also have our resources. Please, take a look at it. Let's keep conversations going. Later in the agenda, we'll talk a little bit more about the coffee events that we're having. But again, I just want to say appreciation to all who are continuing to address these issues. And I know that we have more to be said. So thank you. I am going to quickly move in because I know we have a full agenda. So the next is to talk about the DBA membership. On our page, we have active paid members. The Brockton Garden Club is a paid member, and want to say thank you. And today we were going to be highlighting one of our members, which is the Boys and Girls Club. And one of the things that we're able to do is not only, so if as Elise is scrolling down on this, we actively make your website for you, our paid members. It goes right to your website. Some of the other things is that we're able to do is, again, do a highlight. We had the Luminosity speak a couple months ago, and they were really informative about the work that they're doing, and they're right around the corner from us. So one of the highlights, thank you, is the Boys and Girls Club. And just recently, the digital divide discussion, there was a meeting held last Thursday, and some great discussions that happened there. But also, one of the other things that we're doing with the Boys and Girls Club is that they're having an active registration for membership. I would like to have the Downtown Brockton Association sponsor 10 students, 10 youth to be members of the Boys and Girls Club. So I would just ask anyone who is on here to make, that's what I'm
I'll
proposing.
make the motion, yeah, okay.
Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
So my understanding is that it is, do we know how much the membership is, Elise?
$35.
35. So we're going to be sponsoring 10 students to become members of the Boys and Girls.
Like 5 boys, 5 girls.
I am not getting into it. I'm leaving it to the Boys and Girls Club. They're the members. We're going to choose what the need is.
Okay.
But that's who we are as a downtown, right? We're supporting not only our members, but we support all that's going on, and appreciate. So all those in favor, say, raise your hand, say aye. I know for those, just raise your hands. Even we're pretty informal here. So even if you're not a paid member, please just make sure that you support that. So thank you. And thank you to the Boys and Girls Club. We are going to be equitable. We're going to reach out to the YMCA, who are not members of the DBA yet, but they will. But again, it's the part that's really important is that we are acknowledging who's in our downtown. We start having people focus. So thank you for that. And thank you for the support. Next on the agenda, we have the Boys and Girls, we have the Brockton Garden Club to do a quick presentation. So before they get into that, I had taken the opportunity to meet with the members in advance of today's meeting. Some of that stemmed from keeping the flower bins and on Main Street clean, which thank you to, I know there's some volunteers who have done this, but also Claire has gone out as well. The idea is that we want to make sure that we, as a Downtown Brockton Association, is going to be supporting the garden club in your efforts. So I'm going to ask Claire to take this away, and I don't know who's leading. Anne?
Oh, I'll start with a
Ann's
minute,
the
yeah.
president, so
Okay.
she'll.
I'll just start for a minute.
And I'm going
here.
to keep you on a
Okay.
time.
Yes,
because-
you will,
okay.
I know that. Okay, first of all, thanks for having us. Okay, here we are, brief history, we're 94 years old. And a big mindset is certainly the community, but, you know, environment protection, pollinators, and that mindset, okay? Variety of people who participate in community events, holiday parade, the Juneteenth, recently, the Brockton Youth and Family Fun Day with over 500 people. We gave out over 200 packages of daffodil bulbs. Haitian community partners. Before that, it was the midsummer event. And I'm pointing here because most of them were at Salisbury Park, which is sort of the, you know, getting right into the entry of, right next to the Polk Academy of this downtown, you know, and just great time. They did little teeny terrariums. Okay, community support. This is where definitely Claire falls into holiday wreaths, beautification, civic. And our next meeting is, and I'm really pushing this meeting because it's so important. It's, we have a gentleman named Blake Denius from Plymouth County Extension. He's an entomologist and he speaks all over and he's well respected and he's talking about ticks and other insects. And because of climate change, we're getting more walloped with that. Monday night, Our Lady of Lourdes. It's 430 West Street for those of you who put in your GPSs. It's free to the public. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Our Lady of Lourdes is parking is behind the building on Torrey Street, and you go down the elevator, and there we are. And thanks for having us. Oh, membership is $30, and we have newsletter here, and I have more in the car. Okay,
This
first,
coming Monday,
no, the 25th.
the 25th.
Yes. Okay, now it's all clear.
Well, I'm not talking that fast, sorry.
I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, no. Okay, we do maintain several areas in the city, and you wanted to know which ones were in this area. It's City Hall Plaza, and it's the Planters downtown.
Okay.
We have Sprague Memorial at Crescent and Summer Street, the Urns at Battle and Richmond, the Burton Memorial at Commercial Street, and the East Side Library and the Main Library.
That's a lot.
Well, we have also 6 gardens at the DW Field Park Association, the Brockton Fire Stations 2 and 4.
Wow.
And we work somewhat on Legion. We share it with the VFW.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
yes.
That's pretty amazing. So one of the things that we have
Claire,
talked about.
sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
just have a quick question.
Yes,
There's a little island at where Route 37 starts, Howard Street and Winter. Who would be responsible for that one? Because it's beautiful.
yeah,
I don't know
I'm
who
not
you're talking
sure.
about.
Howard Street,
Yeah, where Howard and Winter, the bottom of Winter, where Howard Street begins. Like right when you go over the Howard Street Bridge,
Yeah,
there's a
okay.
beautiful island there.
Sean
Oh,
Messia,
yes,
do you know who that might be?
That I'd have to check with the assessor's office. I don't know if it's a state or not. I know the island at the bottom of Howard is state.
Okay.
But I could check,
Someone's taking good care of it, I think is what Cindy's talking
Yeah,
about.
it's
Yes?
right at the, maybe
Yeah,
we're talking about the
let
same
me
one.
send
but I
out
don't
a
know.
text. I'll see if I get it now, Mary.
Awesome.
we're on the meeting.
Thank you, John.
But it's beautiful and that's my neighborhood, where I'm in the
Right.
village. And
Oh,
so
that's
many of my neighbors are like, who's
Right.
doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so thank you. I wasn't
No.
sure if it was the garden club.
Yeah,
or-
sorry.
so,
No, but I think that's the
very
point
nice.
that we're getting to and the discussion I had no idea that the garden club does so much across the city and a lot downtown. And I think where I was going with this is that there are a number of spaces here in the downtown, including the Frederick Douglass Garden, and as you said, the VFW, or Legion Parkway, and I come down, it's beautiful. So my point is that we're looking to try to get businesses to adopt the planter in front of their building, and many have. Those of us inside here can see this big container that I won a raffle at the Main Street Conference earlier this year, and I want it to the point of that I want it to be used downtown. Working with the garden club, trying to find a solution. I think one of the concerns is that because those that are on the ground are being used for trash receptacle and for other things. I just was in Boston last week a couple times, and I'm looking at the flower planters that are up on the lamp. I did talk to Mayor Sullivan about that in terms of working with the garden club. So again, working together, looking at costs, looking at what it would take, how do we keep them watered? If Boston can do it, and Worcester and Lowell and New Bedford and others can do it, I do think the fact that, at least for the time being, having those beautiful planters be upward instead of being on the ground, less having to take care of trash. But who knows, maybe with time and with businesses who have it in front of their building. I know Brockton Beer would like to have one of those in front of theirs, and they said they would take care of it. So again, the conversations that we're having with Claire and others, if you are a business and you're going to see this recording later on, why don't you just contact myself for now, and I'll connect you with the Brockton Garden Club. So
That'd be great.
so
Thank you.
the DBA will also become a member of the Brockton Garden Club and showing our support,
Thank you.
a mutual support of each other. So I would like a motion to support being a member, and you only have one size membership, but I think we can at least make a donation of $100, become a member.
I'll
So
make a motion.
so Cindy is making the motion that we become a member of the Brockton Garden Club at $100, and I see Amanda has seconded that. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Don't you dare oppose. So that is unanimous. So thank you again to the Brockton Garden Club. We're gonna make sure that we continue to share your website and information and become a stronger partner with you.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
So next, I'm just gonna look quickly. I have John Masia from the mayor's office, and I also have Derek Salamone from the police department. I have Jeff Thompson. I just want to make sure, I know somebody's got a little bit of a time frame. Just unmute yourself if you have a time frame. If you're okay staying on, we'll go in order. Nope. Okay, so let me go to the agenda, and that is an update from Brockton Police Department. Derek, is that gonna be you, or is that gonna be Lieutenant Schleiman?
Probably me.
Okay. Can I just, before he starts, I will tell you, I've probably seen Derek more time over the last 2 weeks. His cell phone and my cell phone have probably had more exchange. Very responsive. I appreciate the work that you do. I know it's not just with us, Derek. I know you go to the other associations, but it's greatly appreciated. So now I'll shut up.
I appreciate that. Thanks. As Mary said earlier, we do know we have a downtown problem. I've been trying to get out there as much as I can to assist the uniformed patrol guys that are going out, answering the calls, trying to take a little bit of load off them. I did go out with Ernie Bethany and his crew this morning, clean the bridges. It's an issue, obviously. Right before I got there, Ernie pulled up. I think it was Angela, to be honest with you, it was under the bridge. No, actually it wasn't Angela, it was someone else. And Ernie goes, "You taking your stuff?" And she grabbed what she wanted and left everything behind. Some of the stuff that was left behind was definitely items that were given to them by probably passerbys. There was a blanket wrapped in, the original pouch that it came in. There was another one I saw at the Royal gas station in a bush the same way. I don't know if the people that are just leaving the stuff feel like they'll get it from other people later on and whatnot. But the amount of trash was quite disgusting, to be quite honest with you. And they probably picked up about 40 needles this morning. We actively went around the bridges in the surrounding area. The needles are obviously a safety issue. The kids are walking under the bridges. Ernie goes out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to do the bridges. And as Mary said earlier, we do go out Mondays and Fridays to clean up Perkins Park. We're out there, we're trying to do what we can, but as I was the other day when I cleared out behind the gas station on Railroad Street there, 20 minutes later they were back. You clear them out, they wait for you to leave, they come back. The only saving grace was it started to pour and they all scattered. So I know they went away for a while. So we're working on it. So I don't want to, spend too much time on that. Mary's already touched upon that. The other update I do have is Mary has it up on the board is the Coffee with a Cop that's going to be on October 4th. It's a Wednesday. We're going to hold it on the Council on Aging. I was at the temporary center at the Shaw Center this year from 9 to 11. It's a 2-hour event where anybody in the city is invited to come. It's not just any member of the Council on Aging. It's for anybody to come just to sit down, have an informal talk with, other citizens, some of the police officers that are going to be there, maybe some of the problems in various neighborhoods, or if they just have certain questions, or if they just want to come and have a cup of coffee. It's just more of an informal day where you come and we talk about certain things. We've done it the last couple of years. One was at Back Bay Bagel, which was very well attended. Last year was at Dunkin' Donuts next door to Back Bay Bagel, which was sparsely attended. I think some of that was the weather. So I looked for a different location this year where it could hold more people, feel less crammed. And I think hopefully this will work out. So it is up on the board if anybody's got questions. I think it's on our Facebook page. I'm going to put it on the next door page that I have, and as well as the Montello and Campello Business Associations will have it. So I just spread the word. There'll be plenty of coffee. There may be pastries there as well. And like I said, it's a 2-hour event. We don't want to make it too long because it kind of gets a little saturated and stale after 2 hours. So
Not the coffee though, right, Derek?
no, not the coffee, but if you do it too long, people come
Right.
kind of spread out, and it gets a little, not chaotic, but a little disorganized. So I think within a 2-hour span, it works a lot better. People come out at the same time, they talk, everybody talks about what needs to be done or any issues they have, and they know when there's the end time. So I think the 2 hours, and feel free to bring anybody if you're watching your grandchildren that day, they're 4 or 5 years old. Well, I'm probably going to bring some stuff to, for the kids to have, things like that. So just feel free to show up.
Thank you, Derek. And I know that this has been widely shared on social media. We'll continue to share it as we did with all of our members to get the word out. So thank you.
Mary,
Um,
before that, does anybody that's on this have any questions prior to the next topic we're going to talk about? All right, very good then.
Don't think so. Derek, thanks again.
problem,
We really
anytime.
appreciate again what the police department's doing. I'm actually going to do a pause before I go to you, Ben, if I could. Just Counselor Thompson, and then I'll have John Messia just talk about government just before we lead into the next topic. So Counselor Thompson?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Oh, good morning, everyone. Glad to be back with you all. I hope you all had a great summer. I know it goes quickly, but we're back into the fall, the fall calendar, and so it's back to business. And so again, I'm glad to be with you all. Some of the things happening downtown, development is still moving forward. We recently had 2 projects come before the city council for their tie agreements. That's 157 Center Street and 40 Petronelli Way, which is Joe Concal's building, called the Ringside Apartments. So the city council heard both requests, and we voted to recommend both of the tie agreements favorably, and they have been granted through the city council. So the partnerships between the city and developers continues. And so we're hoping that, this will be more a catalyst to additional development downtown. The city's also moving forward with the marvelous Marvin Hagler Pocket Park. The statue has been finished. There has been some initial work on the park been started, and I plan on filing an order with the city council next week to declare that park space state park land. So I'll be filing that order next week. As of today, we do not yet have a date for the unveiling of the statue, but hopefully once that information is known, it'll be widely distributed. And I look forward to the unveiling of that statue. I listened to the conversation at the beginning by Mary, the statement from the police department, and Officer Salomon's remarks regarding the homeless issue downtown. I just want to continue to bring awareness and heighten this issue. It's one that affects all businesses, residents, everyone who comes downtown. And so it's a matter that the city needs to get a handle on. Especially these bridges. I think Officer Salomon was, explained what, the type of man hours that the city puts in every week to clear out these bridges. And then it's just, a black hole. They leave and then they get sucked right back in after the city leaves to clean it up. We need a permanent solution for these bridges. I know I've advocated those art apparatus that I think we're all aware of. But, if we're not looking to do that, then we have to find an alternative. These city bridges are the biggest blight in our city, and it really needs some attention by the administration. Also, Mary brought up the issue from that letter regarding a pedestrian ordinance that the chief spoke about. I have been working with our law department on that pedestrian ordinance, and I'm hoping that it can be filed next week. And it targets specific areas throughout the city, downtown being one of them, but it also some areas near Westgate Mall where where panhandlers are pretty aggressive in trying to seek money. So this is a pedestrian ordinance that I hope the city can discuss and then implement come the end of this year. Lastly, the Latino Women's Association was putting on a Hispanic Heritage Month parade that was scheduled for this Saturday, September 16th. I spoke with Ines. And due to the pending storm this weekend, I was informed that this parade has been canceled and is currently rescheduled for the following Saturday, September 23rd. And so I hope everybody can come out and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month next weekend. That's pretty much all I have at this time, Mary, but thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak, and I look forward to seeing you all next. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. I can tell you, Counselor from Ward 5 has been very responsive to all the, not just the DBA, but to many of the businesses in and around. So I really appreciate your accessibility and your follow-up, Counselor. John Messia, you're the Director of, I may not get your total title, Director of the Constituent Services from Mayor Sullivan's office.
Yes, thank you, Mary. Thank you, DBA, Director of Community Engagement Outreach as well. So
Thank you.
I do hear the sentiments regarding downtown. I'm currently working with, obviously, Officer Solomon, Officer Lieutenant Sleeman, and anyone else, including Chief Perez, on a daily basis through the weekends as well. I do want to start off though by just mentioning what Councilor Thompson mentioned about the postponement of the second annual Hispanic Parade that was currently on September 23rd. The Brockton Police has the promotional test on that date, so they are limited with staff. I'm currently talking with Captain Picaro regarding if we might have to move it to Sunday the 24th. I'm waiting for Inez to call into the office. She has not responded to the message voicemail that we left in the email. So we're going to be following up with her after lunch. So do stay tuned because we will have this handled at some point today and schedule the rescheduled date with the flyers going out to all outreach. Okay. Shifting back. Thank you, Mary. Shifting back towards, what the city is doing is, as you know, Mary, you come on quite often the Health Equity Task Force is handling quite a few different outreach programs and trying to look into what we can do with Brockton Neighborhood Health Center and some of the outreach that's happening in the Campello and Montallo section. So it's something that we possibly can see if we can have outreach from Brockton Neighborhood Health Center out on the street with some of these individuals and coordination through Jasmine Bradshaw, Director of Social Services, who does go out once a day, is in alignment with the Brockton Police Department. As far as there is focus groups that have been set up and that are working, engaging with the individuals that are in sobriety or entering in sobriety and actually helping to assist hearing their voices and finding out what is deterring them from placement and finding programs that can escalate them into a positive movement towards entering their work and life status. And we do have the job placement program, which is through the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department. Jim Frazier is currently running that, working hand in hand with the mayor's office, myself in particular. We do have on the next date for a scheduled Corey-friendly job fair at Massasoit is October 5th. That is going to be well attended by job placement agencies and companies. We do have resume skill class, mini sessions for people that need that, interview skill sessions for people that need that. We are partnering with Mass Hire as well. So we're looking to at this particular time with the focus groups, getting the individuals that will vent their frustrations because of the shelter and because of what is holding them back regarding their chance of entering housing. I know there are a few individuals that have been trying to work through NeighborWorks and their fantastic program. We have found a lot of the case situations with the initial reaction is IDs and fines that these individuals cannot pay for. So what we have done is taken all the information, aligned a time that we can have Jim work on that. We do have the funding, so this doesn't deter the individuals from going to the RMV or going to where they have to get a birth certificate. And we have got them from the ID phase into Mass Health and Health Connector, so they're able to get their meds on mental health issues. And it's not going to be an overnight success, but it's a start in the STEP program of seeing a handful of individuals just off the first 2 meetings to be able to access health insurance and get medication. Now they've entered into the conversation of job placement and finding housing to get to that level, and we are using sobriety housing as well. So Brockton Neighborhood Health Center is going to go into discussion, enter into these focus groups on the next few sessions and bring that diversity to the groups that we need, and to bring actually coaches and counselors to the focus groups and work this program with Jasmine and myself and Judy to be able to expand it so that we can have at least 2 to 3 of them a month and try to work on the population. In the meantime, we are working on the research as the Shattuck has in Jamaica Plain, Boston, which is the PALA program, and seeing if we can entertain, because it is a state funded and state ran facility, and it is a program that is well maintained by their counselors, their staff, and their program directors, that if we can establish a pallet program in the municipality of Brockton, we can add that into this type of setting where we go from a sober house to a pallet program. 90 days later, they're rotating into housing, and from there, job placement. And some of these jobs, just for everyone that doesn't know about the job placement program out of the Sheriff's Department, with that what me and Jim are basically expanding and bringing it to the courts now for probation and First Justice Vitale and Michael Branch over there. This has an opportunity of IT training for the individuals that want that type of job, or CDL training. These jobs start at some IT, some of them 60, 70,000 a year. CDL drivers, some of them 80,000 a year. And Jim has already got one individual enrolled in that CDL training. So it's not going to work for everybody, but it is going to work for the ones that have the desire to change their life. And if they don't want to go with the CDL or IT training, they have the opportunity to go to Corey-friendly union apprentice jobs. We know that plumbers, our average age is 57 years old. We have individuals that will enter that field, carpentry, iron welding, iron workers, electricians. So that's a little bit about what's been going on lately for the last few months. I do have the same sentiments about the bridges. I've worked tirelessly for the last couple of years on that art panel type of project that Councilor Thompson's talking about. All the architectural was done. The funding just came into, and I was explaining to Councilor Thompson about this. It doubled the cost of it because of the setting we have with the economy. Where we were 2 years ago, we're not in with supplies. And unfortunately, it's not going down anytime soon because of the economy and the interest rate. So it isn't off the radar yet. I still keep plugging and bugging Mayor Sullivan regarding what we can do. We have to use a human aspect to it. We have to realize that these individuals, even though some of them are hostile and aggressive, they are still human beings, and we have to make sure we treat them accordingly and try to help and realize that 20 years ago when the mental health facilities closed, this is the result of a lot of mental health issues and substance abuse issues comes from that. So if we can work 4 different points at the problem, I think not only the art project, but finding a solution with a program, but also writing that law, writing that so that the First Amendment right can't be used by every individual on the street corner, because that's not right for the city and the residents of the city. So I do agree on talking points. Is it a lot of work? Yes, but that's why we're all together. We work better together, so we can roll up our sleeves and really come to a concise way to actually make change happen for the city of Brockton. So
John,
I thank you.
I appreciate what you have said. This has been pretty extensive, and we all talked about the issue is systemic. And it's not just a one key fix for anyone or anything. And I know our friends at NeighborWorks are also involved with helping and finding emergency housing and working with the mayor's office and others. But the fact that how you roll things out, thank you for reminding, because I do attend when I can the Health Equity Task Force, where good discussions with community-based organizations occur. But things that are ongoing that we don't see, right? We go in, my employees all park there, and we come in here and we see things, and you can only come across with a perception and not the reality. I was so amazingly pleased with my situation this morning, where it was a nurse who works for Learn to Cope, and she was the one who had Narcan, and she knew the gentleman who was on our front desk. I was simply amazed in the human aspect that was dealt, and it often we all need a little reminder about that. It's a scary situation when folks come in from out of town and do not have this necessarily in their backyard. But I just want to say thank you, John, for number one, being on, and from the mayor's office and the work that Jasmine and others are doing. But the fact that there's some things that are going on, I would at some point like to even have the DBA get maybe some discussions about if the art panels are going to be a way of assisting, and the cost has gone up, then perhaps that we could find ways of also fundraising for that. It shouldn't necessarily always be on a public backs. We can try to do a public-private partnership. So I'll leave that out there. But before I move on, go ahead, John.
Yeah, so I'd like to mention, I was working with an organization that's a nonprofit that does work that is going for another grant. So there is a possibility there, but they do community organizing around donations. It is a possibility to enter into that conversation. So it isn't completely off the table. We have different ways to look at that and to realize that we have to think outside the box, so to speak, because of the cost. But I do agree if we could do some type of community campaign, it has everybody involved in it, and it is a really good, if you could see how they drew it up, the architects, it has the really nice lighting in there, so we could change it according to what holidays, and it has really good artwork that the pieces are going to be thought of by students, by seniors, by everything from the history of Brockton to culture, diversity, and it's something that I feel that would really be key for downtown. So like I said, I'm still working diligently on
Thank
that.
you.
It's just a matter of, at this particular time, when we have mass and cast and we have individuals that are coming and conflicting with, adding conflict with our own residents that are on the street in that area. We have to really try to look at the mental health and the substance abuse of what is homelessness, most of homelessness. And I know officers, Derek knows about this and Will knows about this, that we're out there, like I'm sitting in a basement of a church listening to individuals in the suit, and I'm telling them exactly how I feel. You don't know how to take me, and I understand that, but I'm here to listen to you. I want to know what is wrong in your life that is that is making you hide from getting help and hide and turn away from trying to change your life. And sometimes we have to do that. I mean, we're not going to save everybody, but the ones
Nope.
that don't want to be saved, we have to make that law. So the police officers and and everyone else from probation, and they can use that law so that we can hold people accountable. There's no accountability out there.
Appreciate that, John. I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to be able to get a couple other people in here, but
Sure.
we will look forward to having an update for the next meeting as well to see where
Okay.
things are.
Thank you, Mary.
And I think today's expansion has been great. I want to tag in on the back end of this because, right, so when we're talking about cost of things, the Downtown Brockton Association has been working in collaboration with the city and mass development on a business improvement district. And that is a separate allocation. It's not just for putting on activities, but it's for keeping clean and safe the downtown. It's not even on the agenda, but I wanted to say, when we're talking about raising funds, that could be a really great way of focusing about how we can find ways to do both, right? Be humanistic about things, but also accomplishing. I'm gonna let that go for 1 minute, but I'm gonna go to Ben Foreman today. Ben and I have known each other for 20 something or so years. Ben with Mass Inc., but also with Gateway Cities. He's here today to talk about the Brockton Digital Equity Plan. And I'm gonna turn this over to Ben.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Before I get to the digital equity plan, let me just mention two pieces of past business, because Mass Inc. did a lot of work on, 2018 Criminal Justice Reform Act.
Yes.
We cut our prison population by half in Massachusetts. There's tens of thousands of incarcerations that aren't happening now that were before. And, that's largely people with behavioral health and substance abuse issues. And, they're not going to prisons and jails anymore, which is a good thing, but we haven't built the community treatment system. And that's, I think, a lot of what our gateway cities are struggling with. So we're working on a report now that's looking at that issue. And, it's really difficult to quantify the number of long-term supportive housing beds in the communities and compare that to what the need is, but we're trying to get at that. Our sense is that we have increased the supportive housing beds in the state through probation and other DMH and other agencies, but nowhere near on the equivalent in terms of what's not going to prisons and jails.
What's the time frame of that?
So that's,
study?
we're supposed to release that on December 12th. Any information I could get from you guys or perspective even would be helpful for that report.
Right. I will connect you with John Messia and the mayor to have some subsequent, and as well as with the PD.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And then the other thing we're working on, as you know, Mary, is the Downtown Vitality Act,
Yes.
which is a matching fund.
Yeah.
State matching dollars to any sort of entity. It could be a bid if you have a bid district, but it could just be the DBA. And that whole idea is that we take some of the money the state gets through online sales tax collections and send that back into our downtowns.
Right.
So that passed last year in a version of the economic development bill, but it didn't make it to the final economic development bill. So we're hopeful that this time around. If we can get that across.
I
finish
have the
line.
bill number. I have it all in my office. I should have brought
Okay.
that up, but
So no, that's
Look at
okay, so
that.
we can call and get our reps and,
I will.
and send.
Yeah, and I expect
thank
there's
you.
gonna be a hearing on that relatively soon,
Great.
so it'd be great to have.
great
Okay,
representation.
no
Yeah,
problem.
so, but
Yeah.
we'll communicate on that.
Yeah.
But I'm here today to talk about the digital equity plan that we're working on with the city with Rob May. It's funded by Mass Broadband Institute. They got federal money because of the infrastructure bill. There's about $500 million coming to Massachusetts to help permanently close the digital divide. We're, very focused on individuals and families, making sure that they have internet access in their home in Brockton that's reliable and affordable, making sure they have access to computers, and then, maybe most importantly, making sure that they know there's places they can go in the community to get training on how they can use these technologies for whatever it is, whether it's looking for a job or getting access to healthcare or making sure that kids have what they need to do homework at night. So we're looking at those aspects, but we also want to look at small businesses and making sure that they're using the technology to service their customers and grow their businesses as best they can. So I was just hoping to talk with you briefly about this work to get a sense of, are the small business assistance providers in the community offering any sort of digital skills training?
So I'm gonna look to NeighborWorks, and then, I don't think anybody from the BRA is on, but, the NeighborWorks has a business training program, particularly small business training program that, Tricia White, I think she usually has like a ton of people that are coming, entrepreneurs. I know SCORE is next door to the chamber. I will say the mayor's office gets inquiries, counselors get inquiries, so I will, set up. I know that you also have a survey that's going on.
Yeah.
I don't think Rob May is on here today.
Yeah, so there is a survey that's going around. That's more a resident survey.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
but still, that's
Yeah.
important.
And we've had great, I think over 500 Brockton residents that responded to that. So I think you guys have more than any other city in the state.
All right, yeah,
including
put that
Boston.
up there, give us a
Including
gold
Boston.
star, yeah. Remember when the funding comes out? I know what MassSync is, Mary does, but some other people might not, so I don't know if you want to brief
Yeah,
a little bit and how they can visit your website and all the other great stuff you do.
Yeah, so MassSync is a nonprofit. We work on public policy issues. We try and influence state policy and tilt it a little bit more in the direction of urban communities and meeting their needs in Massachusetts, especially urban communities outside of Boston. So we have our Gateway Cities Innovation Institute. We work closely with Gateway City economic development leaders, housing leaders, mayors, to get ideas from them. And then, we work with the legislature to try and make the case for those ideas and see if we can get things passed. So, we've been looking at digital equity more recently. Just around the time of the pandemic, the census started collecting data on who has internet access and who doesn't. And when those numbers came out, it was pretty startling, because I think everybody at the time thought this was mostly an issue of the Berkshires and rural parts of the state.
And then-
And it's so clearly that, the vast majority of people who aren't able to use the internet are people who live in cities that, either they can't afford it or they live in multifamily buildings.
Yeah.
And those buildings aren't wired well.
We found that out when COVID hit, because when the schools and everybody had to do remote learning, it was a big, oh my goodness, what's going on? So, but I think as you were saying, so there's a residential piece that's been going on that I know Rob's been engaged with, but the business side has probably been a little bit lacking in some ways. So within our downtown area, we do have small businesses. Trying to communicate with them is a challenge, because I've started a newsletter, so we're starting to build some steam in terms of getting word out with that once a month newsletter. There is also buzz around.
Is the newsletter electronic or?
It is
Yes.
electronic.
Yes.
But there's a number of folks that are both on virtually as well as in this room. What probably we should do is do a brainstorm and then get that information to Ben, again, contact. So within thank you today. So I know that thank you to Elise, you put the information about the Massasoit job fair, but also Amanda put in the neighborhood housing services, the Building a Better Business Boot Camp. And so that is great. And here will people in this room, I was gonna say the room and the people in this room can do that. And then, thank you, because there's also the digital access survey. Again, that's for residential, but really want to be able to get the businesses. And again, most of them are small. Black-owned Brockton, Shirley Gilmer,
Yeah.
is a good connectivity, more entrepreneurs. But certainly, you know, Chris Cooney from the Chamber, the SCORE, Brockton Redevelopment Authority. So,
Yeah, so I mean, we're interested in this issue of whether small business providers have courses or trainings
courses.
that would help businesses get going with digital technologies, but we're also interested in just how well is the downtown served. If you know there's issues with infrastructure on access to fiber,
I
we want to probably call the attention to that in this report as well.
So I know that Rob May has done a lot of work on that. There was an assessment done. I was on a task force with him about a year ago, so
Yep.
I would say definitely talk to him about what sort of services may or may not be. I do hear anecdotally from people that if you're on Legion Parkway, you can have it, but if you're somewhere else in
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
downtown, you
yeah,
can't. I also know that the community compact applications are open and that many communities can apply for funding that would provide you know, a netting, if you will, of internet for Wi-Fi within a downtown area. If I had staff, I would be able to do that, but there may be an opportunity to collaborate to provide that with you within downtown. So I think many of the developers, in fact, who have their building, they include that, and it's an amenity that is required, so all are residential again. But I will need to dig a little bit deeper in terms of small businesses and also for what available trainings are available. I don't recall many, I just don't. Other than,
Yeah, we can talk.
yeah, that would be great.
And I just want to add to Mass Inc. Okay, Ben is, you know, on this, but just so people realize what Mass Inc. has done over the years has been phenomenal in a variety of different issues and concerns, from public health to public education and all different. There, you know, the research and the
Yep.
information provided and how that's been instrumental in improving. Yeah.
So what I would, Ben, if you have some, Ben, if you have some time to to hang here, we can get you some context and strategize. It won't be too much longer. I just want to be able to get to some of the other, but I think, again, the businesses and having, I know Mass Hire, Greater Brockton also did some work with some grants through ARPA funding that they may be able to be of assistance as well. We should connect with Jason Hunter, who's the executive director. So there's a lot there, Ben, and there's a lot that I'll make sure that we also follow up with others to know about the Downtown Vitality Act. So that could be helpful to a lot of us who don't have bids in place. Just to keep on task in terms of, so the next coffee caring committee will be on September 25th. Those are open to everyone. While I do not want to certainly take away from coffee with a cup event, but these are open. Her coffee is delicious. The DBA pays for the coffee and for the refreshments. Elvera's is closed on Monday, and the reason why we go on a Monday is because so she can participate in the discussions as well. It's really, she's a person who just doesn't have a whole lot of staff, and trying to do things during the day and have a conversation can be difficult. So this is the initiative of Elvera's, Sandra Martin. And again, so the last meeting, I haven't done the minutes of those because again, it takes time. But one of the things that came across was two things. One, we're talking about the residents going under the underpass, particularly the students. So that was brought up in my email to the chief and she responded to that. But it was also the potential for the DBA to hold a candidates forum. We're not doing it for next week's primary, but that if we really want to be able to get some of our projects and some of the ideas and discussions to do something in an open forum for candidates who are running for reelection, these meetings aren't going to go away. But I think it's a good time to kind of, again, ask them to commit. I wouldn't say that we're necessarily going to say a yes or no, but we would really like to have. So stay tuned if that's something that we may be doing. In my other full-time job that I have, I will tell you, I'm not sure we'll get it done, but that's at least being discussed and I wanted to make sure we bring it up here. The SWOT analysis, thank you, Elise, for bringing this up. So after talking with the mayor last week, he shared it with all, and Sandra from HR share it with all City Hall employees. We are up to 187
Oh,
responses. My goal was to get to 200. So we're probably gonna open up this for one more week, and then I'm gonna close it to the sense of just bringing our issues to the forefront. Interesting, I'm not quite sure if I've seen anything about digital disparity and not having access, but and again, having you come today, Ben, is another aspect, and unless we're talking about it, then people say, oh, wait a minute, that's right, I don't have the access that I thought I would. Our internet goes down every so often, we're not a business, but we lose our internet quite often, and I think the challenge is that we only have one vendor, Comcast, and not having multiple vendors. But that's a contractual thing, but I'm aware of that. SWOT analysis, holiday parade, folks, we're zooming in on that one pretty quick. There is a weekly meeting tomorrow night that we're moving forward. We're trying to secure our activities, including I'm not gonna divulge what we're doing because,
Okay.
but it will be something that's fun. Last year we had the
Oh,
snow
that was
globe,
great.
snow globe, and we're gonna do something that's just as fun. So
Excellent.
so stand by for that, and I know that fire department and building department and others who, police department are on, they are all part of the partners along with the mayor's office and city councilors. There are additional events that are happening that, so Amanda, do you have information? Do you want to chat about the holiday parade?
I don't have anything too updated since last time. More on tomorrow night if anyone's ready to join so that we can go over a few things.
What
But
time?
I don't want to jinx us, but I think we're trending in a pretty good direction organizationally.
We are, thanks to Amanda and a number of the folks who volunteer. It is at 6 o'clock. It's all virtual. We're not having any meetings
Okay.
because I'm in meetings all day and I'm trying to keep them.
Okay.
But the meeting, and, I know I gave you access, Amanda, just because I have you, we're going to be doing a buy local campaign, and I think Elise needs to
Oh,
stop
that's wonderful,
sharing,
yeah.
and I think I need Amanda to share her screen on this. And I promise you, we're gonna end in just a minute.
Mhm.
Ben, thank you. Okay, great. If you can connect, that would be
Thanks
great.
for coming, yes.
So the Buy Local, Buy Brockton, this is the Downtown Brockton Association's really pushing it. So
Good.
for vendors and for entertainment, for anything that we're doing, it's gonna be Brockton. It's gonna be, first of all, we're gonna focus on downtown Brockton, and then we're gonna focus on Brockton businesses before we go to our external
Sure.
vendors.
Yeah, that's great.
And Amanda, thanks for bringing this up. It means supporting businesses in Brockton before considering outside sources. When you buy local, you support the local economy and small business owners and help drive the economic growth in your area. So please support Brockton business, downtown, Campello, Brockton. Amanda, thank you for sharing the screen because she was the one who pulled this together as we were chatting, and it's going to be our goal as a DBA. So thank you. Anything else?
I thought.
Oh, you know what? If we can go to the chat, actually, Ginny left in the chat.
It was all about cultural, council.
Yeah, it
grants,
was.
yeah.
Let me just find the chat. Let me just go through quickly the things that were in the chat, and then,
Oh,
so the
sorry.
website, the database, John, thank you, doesn't have, so we're gonna find out about that island. Senator Brady's office, Al DiGirolamo was on early, but he had a 12 o'clock meeting. I want to say thank you to the senator again.
All right.
Just an update, because they did provide the $50,000 in the economic development bill for the DBA. Internal discussions is, I truly believe I'm going to be hiring somebody
Oh,
to
good for you.
come
Yeah.
and take on these duties because it is a lot.
Yeah.
But they will be helping. So I'll be putting together a job description. It'll be contractual. So if you know, it will be someone from Brockton.
Good,
It will be
good.
looking for someone. The preference will be someone who has multiple languages. Again, I'll be putting that out soon for people to apply. Elise shared the information about the Massasoit Career Fair. Thank you for doing that. neighbor housing services. Am I saying that? Sorry. NHS. Neighbor Works.
Yeah.
Just their boot camp is in the digital, in the chat, the digital access
Oh,
survey.
it is Brockton
Okay,
Cultural Council.
so Ginny Mahoney had to leave. The Brockton Cultural Council grant applications are open and they're now open through October 17th. The DBA will be applying for some funds. And we want to be able to, so it says for projects in arts, culture and science
Yeah.
to benefit Brockton citizens. So we will get that shared out again, in our outreach. I will tell you, anyone, and I'm
Yes.
looking at whether you're the PD or the fire department, the counselors, to anyone, the Brockton Area Transit, we can think of a number of things that you can apply for.
And what's important, I'm sorry, I'm not
Go
to
ahead.
cut you off, is the Mass Cultural Council, they're doing some kind of Zoom training thing to understand.
Oh, yeah, when is that?
It escapes me right now, I'm sorry.
We'll
But
get that.
she had something about going for, frequently asked questions up there,
Yeah.
say, okay, yeah.
Thank you.
And,
It's all in the chat. And then,
Yeah.
small business boot camp, and it's tomorrow. Thank you very much, Amanda.
No, boot camp's
know-
next week. The Zoom info session for the Mass Cultural Council is tomorrow.
Gotcha. Thank
that's-
you.
yeah.
We'll make sure we
That's
get those out and on our social media as well. And, I know that Darren Duarte and, Lieutenant Schleiman are on. Any last comments, just to say hi, or do you want to say anything? I'll just say thank you to both of you. I had a chance to chat with Darren and the two officers who were on the bike. I want to make it clear that it is on overtime, excuse me, their budget, and appreciate that. So Bill, if you do, please.
And I would just say, we look forward to working with you and we do those beats, but they're not often promoted that way on social media, and we'll try to promote more of those when we have to.
I think it's, and there's so much that the Brockton Police Department does, and I don't want to, anyone to underscore that. It is hard to give yourselves pats on the back, but I think in this case, it was so well received. I heard from so many businesses where you stopped in, where the police officers had stopped in, and again, greatly appreciate the work of the mayor's office, the police department, social services, and all. And we look forward to continue to work. And Counselor Thompson, I know you're on, but just working with all of you. So we're a little bit over. I appreciate everybody hanging on. We're gonna share, this is gonna be recorded. The recording will be shared. You can use it however you want. And thank you everyone for being on, and we'll look forward to next month's meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the reason